This
Don't believe anything you see negative about me without sharing with me first.
story
Email me what you see and let me see for myself, and I'll give you an answer.
is
It'd be better to send it through those 3 services than through YouTube or Twitch.
about
I don't want your donation. I don't need it. Enjoy recording this all you want. I'm telling my audience I do not want donations.
2
Oftentimes he would even begin his stream until I've given him his donation.
catch
I just went on my past experience with him and I was like, okay, I'm going to send you 800 and you don't need to pay me back. The next day they sent me a DM on Discord saying, have you heard about what's going on with Mater Paul? And I was like, what?
fire
I have a basketball. We're messing around with Beethoven. Ugh. Oh, he didn't like that.
When Beethoven went to go bite him, that's abuse.
Using social engineering on my audience. I'm a live streamer. That's what I do for a living.
You social engineer your audience?
Other scam baiters get donations.
Sure do.
So is it wrong for me to expect them?
I just basically was like so many other people. I was fooled, I was fooled into thinking that here we were making a difference, we were helping.
I just wanted to jump in here real quick before we get started. The reason that I'm making this video isn't for us to all go and attack Mater Paul. So before anybody goes and runs over to his channel to kind of shame him or make him feel bad, please remember that the only goal here is for Mater Paul to correct his behavior. If he wants to beg his audience for money on his stream, that's fine. A lot of people do that online. But it's when you are specifically going and emailing these people one by one, asking them for money, promising to give back money that you've taken from them, that is where the problem is. There's going to be some other things that we talk about in this video that could possibly be triggering for some people dealing with animals, so this is your warning before we get started. The only thing that we want is for Mater Paul to get the help that he needs. There could be a wide range of things that are causing his behavior to be like this, because after all, Mater Paul's been a creator for 8 years, and it's only been like this past year, it seems, that he's been doing this type of shit. So we know that the majority of his career was made up of him doing a lot of good. We want to get him back to doing that. So with that said, thank you guys for watching and enjoy the rest of the video. In part 1 of my Mater Paul video, I broke down a lot of behaviors that I found concerning and that a lot of his fans found concerning, from emailing his fans asking for money to starting about a gajillion GoFundMes to try to use whatever mild medical issue he had.
That's why I started the GoFundMe. And if you guys remember, I talked about my hernia a month and a half ago. And I told you I was going to start a GoFundMe to help me pay for it.
To raise money, taking a GoFundMe from $1,600 all the way up to $30,000 at one point. So in this video, we're going to hear from the people who were there when all this was going on. We're going to hear from the people who've had money taken from them under false premises. I could sit here all day long criticizing a lot of the behaviors of Mater Paul, but until you hear from the people who have actually been affected by him, I don't think we're really going to drive home just how serious of a problem this could be. And while yes, the topic of the conversation is Mater Paul, if you are a creator who engages in this type of behavior, you will eventually be called out for it. Maybe not by me, maybe by someone else. But if I see it, you best believe I'm gonna call that shit out. I think it's worth adding that I'm not criticizing creators for wanting to make money online. I want to be very clear about that. As a creator myself, the money that I'm able to generate online is a huge help to my life. This isn't that though. What this is a man who is messaging his audience one by one saying, hey, if you give me this much money, I will be able to pay you back shortly, knowing full well he has no intention of paying back any of the money that these people give him. It almost feels like, in a way, Mater Paul feels like he is entitled to this money. And this goes back to my first video where the guy says that, the audience was the ones who wanted him to go streaming full time.
And I said, do you want me to become a full-time streamer? And I got nothing but a bunch of cheers and yeah, Ray, become a full-time streamer. You got to become a full-time streamer. And so here I am 2 years later, and my income has dropped through the floor.
I feel like he truly feels entitled to their money because they told him to go full-time streaming. Unfortunately, that is not how any of this works. You are in charge of your own life, Modder Paul, and I think the sooner you figure that out, the better. Stop putting it on your audience that you have problems in your life. We all have problems in our life, but you're putting it all on your audience, and that is not a good thing. If you remember in the first video, I went through a couple emails, and in one of the emails, there was a person that Modder Paul had requested $450 from, to which he so brazenly said, I'll pay you back in a couple hours, which obviously he had no plan to do. But this person, being the generous person they were, gave him $800. I come to find out that this person is not only somebody in my community, but this is also somebody who was involved in the scammer payback drama. In fact, the opposing side of the scammer payback drama, when I was defending Pierogi, they were being one of Pierogi's accusers. I've come to know this person over the past couple of months because I guess, she appreciated something about what I do here. Can't quite be sure what that is, but she comes into my live streams all the time, and this person is a person who goes by the name of Gypsy Rose. Even Chud Logic managed to cover her. But ever since then, I've gotten to know Gypsy Rose. She's an amazing lady, but I will admit that I do think that Gypsy tends to be easily taken advantage of because she likes to just do really nice things for people, and there's always people out there that are going to be willing to exploit that. And I think that Modder Paul knew that, and that's why he emailed her. But what she had to tell me really kind of caught me off guard. Like, I didn't know how bad it was until I talked to Gypsy Rose. So here's some of the excerpts from our interview here that I thought were pretty important. You've seen my video, right? And it turns out that you were the person who donated the $800 to him. Can I ask you what it was that made you want to give him that money?
Well, what happened was on January 16th, I got the email that he had sent out to, many of his supporters. And in the past, I had been a supporter, and about almost 2 years ago now, I stopped watching any scam baiters, but I used to watch Modder Paul a lot, and I loved his infinity numbers. It would make me laugh when he would talk to the scammers. I believed because of that, and then his participation in the People's Call Center, that he really was trying to help people. And so he sent me that email that he sent to so many people, about all his health issues and that he needed that endoscopy or in the throat dilation thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had not seen any of his videos to see his downward spiral. And I just went on my past experience with him, and I was like, okay, I'm going to send you $800 and you don't need to pay me back. And then I thought that was that. But then a friend of mine from the scam baiting community, it was just real ironic because it was like the next day they sent me a DM on Discord saying, have you heard about what's going on with Modder Paul? And I was like, what? And then I started looking into it, and they had given me Pecan's videos to look at. And I was like, are you kidding me? I just gave him $800. So I would not have given him that if I had known, but I was just thinking he was a good guy needing help with medical issues, and so I gave the money.
And obviously this isn't our first time having a video with each other involved in it. We were both before on different ends of the scammer payback drama, where you were on one side and I was on the other, and even then you were donating to Pierogi. So have you always kind of had like this affinity to try to help support scam baiters?
Yes, my driving force in my life is helping people. If I can help people, I will do it. In fact, just to give you a little history, I helped start Habitat for Humanity in Iowa in 1985 and was on the national board of directors there. So my heart has always been to help people. As I was aging and we went into COVID and all that kind of stuff, I came on to Pierogi, and so I started helping scam baiters, and from Pierogi I got to know about Modder Paul and other scam baiters, and I've donated to all of them, but Pierogi and Modder Paul were the two that I gave the most to.
Now, just to be clear, Pierogi never emailed you specifically asking the way that Modder Paul did, correct?
Oh, no, not at all. Pierogi never, and even in the video where you and I disagree a little bit, I made it very clear. Pierogi never asked for money.
You wouldn't see these situations as being similar in any way?
No, not at all. Totally different. It's amazing to me what Paul is doing in terms of emotionally manipulating people.
Using social engineering on my audience. I'm a live streamer. That's what I do for a living.
You know, talking about how he can't afford insurance and can't do this, I can't do that, my throat this, you know, my health that. And yet at the same time, you know, Pecan's videos show it clearly where he's streaming online totally inebriated and saying horrible things about women, saying horrible things about his subscribers and followers and people that donate. And it's sad. I think he's sick, and I think he needs a lot of help. On January 16th is when I sent him the 800. January 17th is when I found out what was going on. But what really additionally got to me was even once I sent him that money on the 27th, and this is one of the emails that really bothered me because even I know I'm not techie, so I don't understand a lot of technical language.
Mm-hmm.
And so he sent me an email on the 27th and said, can I borrow $650 from you on Venmo? I can pay you back tomorrow mid-morning. And then he says, I'm trying to unlock a BitLocker that has cash in the thousands waiting for me, and that's how I would pay you. Convert it back to Venmo and send it back. And I was like, that's very suspicious to me. And at this point, he actually called me on the phone, which I don't have a phone call of, but I said, this is very suspicious. It just is too suspicious, and I live on Social Security. I can't send anymore.
You said that directly to him, that you felt like
I said that directly to him.
And if you don't donate, that's no problem. If you can't afford it and don't want to, it's no big deal.
What was his response to that?
His response to that was, well, you did send me 800, so I guess that's okay. And then about an hour later, he sent me another email saying, ignore my request. I found another funding source, which on the phone, he told me was Pleasant Green, which I found out later was not true.
How frequent were these emails asking you for money?
Well, the first one was January 16th. The second one was January 27th. And February 6th, he says, can I borrow $80 for 4 hours?
Even if you gave him that money, did you think he'd give it back to you?
Not at that point, because at this point I had found out about his spiral. I knew that what he was saying was not true. Like in this one where he asked for $80, he says, I need to make a purchase for this new job I just got hired for, and they're paying me a $500 bonus after I start today. That makes no sense to me. I know I'm old, but what job gives you a bonus the day you start?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It does seem like that the majority of the emails that were targeting Venmo were you. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, I felt he was trying to take advantage of my good nature. A lot of times because when people are trying to manipulate me, a lot of times I just don't see it and I take everything at face value. But at this point, I knew he was trying to manipulate me and get me to send money. And I knew he wouldn't pay it back just because of, like he was setting up the GoFundMes. And then I had found out he had been emailing other people, and I knew at that point it was not a good situation. Again, on February 6th, he sent me another email. I need 500 now, and this was just after he had asked for 80, and he says his job requires him to invest in equipment and it's not escapable. And then, can you do 500 Venmo? I will pay you back within 4 hours. That makes no sense to me. And then these emails are coming. The first one was at 9:03 a.m., then 9:27, then 10:31.
This is all the same day.
All the same day, then 10:39, and then 10:40 saying it's a bit of an emergency here, and then 10:50 that says please let me know, and then 10:52 says actually 350 would work, not 500. Can you do it? And then at 10:55, I have to go to the pawn shop to get cash.
If you don't want to donate, don't donate. I'm not going to ask for it.
Like, do you think he
and
was
look-
trying to guilt you right there by saying he
Yeah.
has to go to the pawn shop?
Yes, I do. I don't know if it was intentional on his part or not, but I took it as he was trying to guilt me into it. He says now it's only $300, and I can
Wow.
pay you back today.
Just wait.
I don't want your donation. I don't need it.
Yeah, and then it says I'm buying specialized equipment that allows me to analyze Adobe DocuSign, and then I do tech support for employees around the country using an iMac they are making me purchase.
Damn, just one day earlier and you would have saved yourself $800.
Exactly. If the Discord drama had gotten to me sooner, I would have saved the money.
And that's why we're doing this.
You know? Yeah, exactly. Because for anybody else who doesn't know, for anyone else who doesn't see the manipulation, who doesn't see the lying, talking about his health in general, I have a little bit of a health background. I thought his throat problem was real, and that he would need a throat dilation, but that's not that much money. I mean, it is in a sense. I mean, $1,600, but I mean, to go on a GoFundMe and say, I need this at $1,600, and then it's almost $3,000, and then, it goes up to $30,000 and then back down to $10,000. It just makes no sense. Yeah. And I told him, again, I live on Social Security. And so I have said this before in your streams or in the chats and stuff. I live simply on purpose so that I can help other people. And he knows that. I mean, he knows that I save money to help people. Once I told him that I live on Social Security, I thought that would be the end of it. But he sent me another email starting on March 26th.
Yeah, when was the last time he reached out to you?
It looks like March 26th, yeah. Because he said, can you loan or donate $50 to Venmo? I need to buy food and cat food plus gas for my car. Honestly, the cat food thing, I'm like, oh no, Beethoven. This one I had a struggle on because I was like, okay, $50 if it's buying cat food for Beethoven, I might possibly be able to do it.
Do you really think that he was going to buy it for Beethoven, though, or do you think it was probably going to be for something different?
I honestly don't know. And so I emailed him back, I'm sorry, I don't have anything to spare right now. So anyway, that was the last time he actually reached out directly to me.
I guess he figured the jig was up at this point.
Yeah.
I realized that what you're trying to do, and I even said this back when we were on different sides on the scammer payback drama, that I feel like you genuinely just want to help people and that you're probably getting pulled back and forth between always these different forces, and all you ever wanted to do is to try to help people. And unfortunately, there's always people out there who are going to try to take advantage of that. So it sucks. No good deed goes unpunished, as they say.
So I'm thankful for your community, by the way, EG, because I can go in there and make a post about, okay, somebody asked me for this, and I will get an honest, well thought out answer from many of the community members. And I really appreciate that because there's times I don't think of an angle, or that somebody's trying to pitch an angle to me or something, so it's a good community.
Yeah, we try. I find it interesting with you specifically because we literally started out as like I wouldn't say like enemies, but at least different positions in a very hot button topic. You were on Colin's side, explaining your position, and then I end up making a video defending my position, and then we actually end up talking and realizing that we have a lot in common. I think what you care about is the truth, just like me.
Exactly.
At the end
and that's the thing. It's the truth.
One of these days we'll get you fully around to Team Scammer Payback again, but this is a cautionary tale for a lot of people out there. And do you think that he used the fact that he was a scam baiter as his way of, trying to convince you all that he was a good dude?
Absolutely, because, before all of these things happened, in my mind, any scam baiter was a person of integrity because, and I would not think that they would lie to me because their job is to go after liars, and so I thought any scam baiter would not try to con me.
Perfect cover.
So, perfect cover. But I think a majority of them still have a good heart. I think also Modern Paul took advantage of the scam baiter community as a whole, or tried to, because most of us are kind, hearted people with large hearts who want to help people.
And not to mention, many of you have been susceptible to scams in the past, which is how you found out about scam baiting in the first place.
Exactly.
So
Yep.
to exploit that aspect kind of shows you that he's no different than somebody who's in India trying to scam someone right now.
Exactly. Exploiting that. I call it a strength, but a lot of people might call it a weakness. But being kind and generous to me is a strong point.
It is.
Yep.
We're going to do our best, though, to make sure that this doesn't happen to you again, right? You know, make sure
absolutely.
that I'm all for you helping people out. I've even told you, like, don't donate to me if you don't feel like I'm providing you something worthy of being donated for. So, and
Absolutely.
you know, so if I'm saying that, I could easily sit here and be like, yeah, keep the donos coming, but I'm literally telling you, like,
Right.
if I haven't entertained you or made you laugh or haven't given my all in a way of presenting myself to you, then do not donate, right? But if you're happy and you're having a good time, by all means, go for it.
Just thank you so much for listening to my story, and I hope that it helps other people who may not have seen all the different sides of Mater Paul. So I hope it helps somebody.
I'll tell you what, he makes Progi look like an angel again, don't he?
Oh, amen. Isn't that the truth?
It might be easy to sit there knowing what you know now and wonder why Gypsy would be so willing to give Mater Paul $800 of her own money, especially living on Social Security. But as she said herself, that her main purpose in life is to try to help people. It makes her feel good about herself. It gives her purpose in life. And a lot of people probably feel similarly. In fact, I think you'll see that there's a theme among all the victims that we speak to today, that all of them thought that helping Ray was helping other people. But in reality, it just seems like Ray was helping himself. But much like scammers in India or all around the world target elderly people because they're more susceptible to fall for scams, you can't help but wonder if that was the same thing that Ray was thinking when he was blowing up Gypsy's email that morning. Now, this next person's going to be anonymous to you, but not anonymous to me or anonymous to my community. Definitely not anonymous to Mater Paul. Please understand that what happened to this person is real. I know for a fact that they knew Mater Paul. I just can't go on the record with their identity or their information or anything because, well, I just can't. If you are somebody who recognizes this person because you were either a part of Mater Ray's community or because they say something that kind of gives away their identity to someone else, please, I'm asking you to not give that identity up. Most of the people who would recognize this person are in the scam bait community, so I would hope that they understand the importance of privacy. With that said, let's get into the next person, who we're gonna call Tanya.
Getting to know Ray, you know, in a little bit human to human aspect. And that's kind of what led to all of the donations, which I didn't realize it at the time, but apparently those were such a huge thing to him that oftentimes he wouldn't even begin his stream until I had given him his donation.
So if you don't want to donate, don't donate. I'm not going to ask for it.
Please bear in mind that I was giving him donations of $50 a day. As many of his mods have complained and subscribers have complained, you know, he never had a set time that he would, I guess, go on. You know, oftentimes he would say, I'm going to be, you know, streaming at this time. And, you know, that time would come around and he wouldn't. And then I would, you know, remember and do my donation. And then all of a sudden, here he would come, you know, on to stream. I subscribed to Aura, even though he was actually going to be using me to do his Aura campaign stuff because I was throwing some ideas out there to him that he just thought was amazing. Come to find out later, he used a couple of those lines, I guess you could say, in one of his Aura ads, but you know, that's whatever. I just basically was like so many other people, I was fooled, you know, I was fooled into thinking that here we were making a difference, we were helping, we were getting all of these victims their money back, you know, and that really hit home with a lot of us. And over the course of time, a lot of us in the chat, you know, in the stream, we developed friendships, very close friendships. When all of this came to a very ugly, explosive head, we were all wounded. You know, it wasn't just one of us, it wasn't just two of us, it wasn't a couple of us. There was a big group of us, you know, and it left us feeling orphaned and betrayed and many other feelings. He and I would message one another through that Discord account daily. A lot of times if I hadn't done my daily donation yet, he would message me on there, good morning, sunshine, even if just the night before he was being really ugly to me. For example, when I was still subscribed to him and still giving him money, he had mentioned in one of his videos that there was somebody that was talking smack about him, and then he said the person's name.
I'm not letting Pecan Head play. Yeah, he has a pathetically small channel.
That's swinging big dick on you, motherfucker.
And of course, me being the, nosy female that I am, I, on my laptop, hopped right on over there and pulled up that person's name. It was Pecan Head. And I watched the first video, and it was like a ton of bricks fell on me. And my eyes opened and I could see for the first time. And I left a comment, nothing major. I think it was just a comment, something along the lines of, oh my God, wow, or something like that. And after that, he messaged me, he screenshot that and messaged me and was all, really?
I told you, Pecan Head wants to destroy me.
Really? You're gonna fucking believe him over me? Blah, 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 just cussing me out, and then basically told me to fuck off. To this day, tell people that Pecan saved me from this Ray's scammer, because he did. He truly did. It was in that moment that I really saw Ray for what he was, and that was it for me. Unsubscribed, I blocked his cell phone number from contacting. I just completely blocked any way of communication he would have of reaching me.
There was another incident where you were apparently given an opportunity to go meet up with Ray in regards to helping him with his Aura campaign.
So my mom and I were taking a trip. We were going to travel basically 6 hours to a location to meet him. He was going to fly in from his location, and we were going to meet up because he wanted me to be his Aura campaign manager person, I guess. We were supposed to meet up and go over that more in detail and, kind of move forward with a plan from there. I gave him the money for the plane ticket. We got there, and he never came, and he never answered the phone to me again after that. And that was the first time that he disappeared.
You had talked to him. He was like, yeah, I'll meet you guys there on this date.
We gave him money for a plane ticket. And then whenever we arrived, and we're calling him, we as in my mom and I, when we were reaching out to him, he was all telling me, oh yeah, I'm at the airport now, blah, blah, blah. And so we waited, and then that was when he stopped answering his phone. That same day that I was talking to him, and he was saying he was at the airport, he was complaining that they had lost his luggage. And I said, well, that's not an issue. They can find it really easily. You can reschedule your flight. It's no big deal. Do
you think that he honestly lost his luggage, or do you think he was just lying to you about being at the airport? Like, what's your gut tell you?
I think he was lying to me about being at the airport. I truly do. Because it was the next day that he disappeared. Stopped answering his phone, stopped going online, stopped streaming, everything. And it was during that time, I can't remember exactly how long of a period that went by, several weeks, possibly a month, that we didn't see him. And I finally had to make some calls to basically make sure he was alive.
If you had to guess how much money you've given him over the years.
Well, it hasn't really been over the years. It's been just over a 6-month period of time. And I'd say about $10K.
In this past 6 months, $10K?
Yes, sir.
And was there ever a time where he would reach out to you and be like, hey, I need money for this? And you would be like, sure.
Yes.
During this 6 months period, how often would you say that the donation stemmed from him pretty much asking you for money?
I would say it started to get towards every time I talked to him that there was an issue or a need, a couple times a week.
A couple times a week he'd hit you up and ask you for money, and you said that there was always an excuse attached to why he needed it.
Oh yeah, always. He was playing on my emotional strings. He would play on my emotional strings, basically. I want to be able to take Beethoven outside, but all I got is his leash and his collar, and he's scared, and there's other animals out there. So feeling bad, I buy a freaking cat stroller, Oh, Beethoven, during the wintertime, he gets so chilly in his little cat bed, but he loves his cat bed. I buy him his special freaking cat blanket that's got pictures of him of Beethoven on the blanket with Beethoven's name. Oh, I don't know what I'm going to do for dinner. I'll probably just eat leftovers. Make me feel bad. So I would send, 10, 15 bucks. Here, go get yourself something to eat. Don't eat leftovers. This is enough to at least get sandwich stuff.
Do you feel that he was doing this very calculated and very intentional?
Yes, I do. It makes me feel really used, and it makes me feel angry. I've spent my whole life having people take advantage of my kindness. It's one of my flaws. I still enjoy watching the scam baiters, in the scam baiting community. But I'll tell you right now, you won't see me donating anymore. Ray has left me too frightened to donate to anybody anymore.
If you could say one thing to Ray, what would you want to say to him?
Go get help. It's very apparent that you have a problem. Go get help before it's too late. And that's it. That's all I'd say to him. Thank you, Pecan Head. Rest in peace, brother. You, one of your last acts was saving me, so thank you. And I'll never forget you for that.
As somebody who would probably watch this, I'm sure one of the questions they would have is, well, why did you give him so much? What would your response to that be?
I believed in a lie.
You thought he was helping people.
I did.
In my first video, there was a couple people in the comments who just kind of didn't really see what was wrong with what Ray's doing. Maybe their thought is, he's a creator. He needs to be able to pay for his lifestyle. Yeah, that's fine. If you were making enough to make sure that you could pay for your lifestyle. But what Ray's doing is forcing his audience to pay for his lifestyle. It's not the same as like somebody who's a successful creator and makes enough money in ad revenue or memberships or donations to be able to live comfortably off the money they make online. Ray made the decision to not look for another job and to go all in on content creating, and he's failed. But instead of leaving the poker table after he's been out and going back to work a regular job and maybe try to reorganize his channel to be successful again later down the line, he has taken it upon himself to pressure his audience to continue to let him do nothing. Let's be honest, the guy's not streaming, so what's he doing? He's obviously sitting around his fucking apartment and doing nothing. You're paying for that. You, not you specifically, but you know what I mean. Like the people who watched him were paying for that. Why they went off to work. They would go to work, they'd come home, they'd give Ray his money. And Ray has this cat, Beethoven, that people seem to really adore. And I've seen videos of the cat is adorable. Meows a lot, he's very vocal. But it seems like since Ray doesn't have like a child or something, that he's using his cat to guilt people into buying him things. You heard it with Gypsy, you heard it with Tanya. Both times, when he couldn't get someone to donate for one reason, he would bring up his cat. But how much does Ray actually love his cat? There was a video I came across called Abusive or Playful, and it was a video with Ray and his cat. Now I'm gonna play that for you, and I'm gonna let you decide what you think about this video, and then I'm gonna have one more interview to go.
I have a basketball. We're messing around with Beethoven. Ugh. Oh, he didn't like that. I'm not gonna abuse my cat. He's got a shaggy butt. I pull his tail all the time. I'm gonna step on you. Yeah, I'm stepping on you. He doesn't hurt my foot. I'm not stepping on him either. I'm just putting my foot next to him. He goes crazy when I put my foot next to him. I don't even step on him. I just put my foot next to him. It's something about him. He does not like my foot. Yeah, lay down. Yeah, lay down. Yeah, I'm looking at you. Don't get all annoyed. Don't get so annoyed. Oh, now you're getting fighty. Lay down. I can't let him rabbit foot my bare foot. It would hurt. I pull your tail. Yeah, pull your tail. Yeah. I love your tail, Beethoven. I love your tail. You have a pretty tail. That's why I pull it. Yeah. Meh. Meow, wow, 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 wow. Wow, 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 wow.
Seems thrilled.
I always pull my cat's tail. That's what they're for. My mom told me don't pull the cat's tail, and I just did it anyway. And always pull. I mean, I don't go up to every cat and pull their tail. I only pull the tail of the cat that I own. And I didn't start yanking on his tail at the beginning. I did a little tug and introduced him to the idea. So he knows when I pull his tail, I'm only doing it out of admiration.
Did he tell you that?
I love his tail. He's got a cool tail. Yeah. So I'm not even pulling it. I'm just touching it. Don't touch my tail. Don't touch my tail. Put you on your cat tree. There. Now lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Do a cat thing and go to sleep. Lay down. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like the cat's a real big fan of it.
Ow. Yeah, you're scaring me with that mouth. Yeah, you don't scare me. Now he's moving over to the other. Meh. Meh. Lay down. Lay down. Lay down.
That's
Lay
a happy
down.
cat right there.
Lay down. Lay down.
Biting the shit out of him.
Lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Ah. 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 Yeah, that foot will get rid of him. I like to pull his tail.
I thought you said you don't pull it, you only touch it. Now you're pulling it.
I pull his tail all the time. Meh. Meh. We're not done. What? Ah. 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 Ah, you don't want me to pull your tail? Lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Ah. Ah. He has his moments, you know. He's a great cat. I love Beethoven.
Now during that video, I put up a couple graphics from a quick Google search I did. You heard Ray say that cats' tails are there to be pulled on. Obviously, that's not the case because I showed a graphic of what cats' tails are actually for, and not one of them listed that they're there to be pulled on by humans. A secondary search that I did also suggested that you should not pull a cat's tail because it's bad for them. It could risk serious injury to the cat. I guess Ray doesn't seem to care about that though, because after all, he's showing love to the cat. He told the cat that, and everybody knows the cats speak English, so I'm sure the cat knew that.
I only hunt mice for fun.
You're going to turn me into one of those fat, useless, contented house cats.
I have to admit, I am no professional when it comes to cats, so I brought in my own cat expert who actually left Modern Paul's community due to the way that he treated Beethoven. I love how shocked he was to find out that the cat didn't like having a basketball thrown at him. At the end of the day, it's up to you guys. While I think that Ray is a little bit rough with the cat and he shouldn't be pulling the cat's tail, I don't see enough there for me personally to think that Beethoven needs to get taken away from him. However, this this is an aspect of this whole situation, since Modder Paul seems to use the cat a lot in order to get donations from unwilling participants in his community. So like I said, let's go to my resident cat expert, Solomon.
And I was kind of at a very low point in my life, and I was just kind of looking around online, and I started, oh, People's Call Center. And I mean, I already knew Pierogi. I'd been subscribed to him for about 2 years at that point. And I saw this dude, and he didn't have very many views. He had much lower views, and I couldn't understand why. But I started by watching a couple of his VODs, if you will. Then I happened to pop into one of his lives, and he didn't have like a ton of people like Pierogi would. And I like smaller communities because you can kind of get to know people. But I still remember the first time I dropped into his chat, they were very friendly and very warm, and it was at a time when I needed that in my life.
He was very warm to you, like very kind to you at first?
He was busy scam baiting, but his community was in the chat. As far as he goes, I remember I was at a drive-thru one evening, and he was doing one of his like little kind of impromptu lives, and I started kind of chatting to him, and he responded. And that was the first time I'd ever had an experience where a streamer actually responded to something that I said. And I thought that was cool.
How long were you in his community for?
Maybe mid-May of last year, and I finally got out by mid-September of last year. I was just pretty much done. So about a month after I started watching him was when he actually just disappeared for a week, and then he came back. But as I learned later, he's done that many times before. As far as like some of the deep stuff people have talked about, I know some people have their stories. I felt so bad for them because they were like, oh, I don't have a lot, but I'm going to donate $5. And then at the end of this, he didn't even acknowledge that. And at the end of the stream, they were like, hey, Ray, you missed saying my name. And this is where this whole thing came about, where he's like, oh, well, you have to do PayPal, Cash App, and Venmo. But before he said that, you could see it on his face where he was like embarrassed that he forgot. And he literally came up with that just so he could save face and not have to like look like he forgot somebody. Instead of just saying, oh, well, I'll get you next time, he chose to go that direction. I know that there have been a few other people that he has snapped at. It's typically his thing. Like when someone will try to say something, they'll be completely nice. He will bite their head off out of nowhere. And he's done it to me. When I would watch him game, he would get all frustrated and he would expect us to try to look something up. So when I looked it up and I would try to send him like, copy and paste some stuff, he actually bit my head off to the point one day I just shut down and stopped talking. And it made me feel like crap. There's one time where he played this game and he absolutely had the second to the worst ending. And I was like, oh, you got the ultra rare titanium ending, because it was just hilarious. So to be fair, there were a lot of times where we had good times. But then his cat, Beethoven, he decided to start kind of, I think he's always kind of pulled his tail a little bit. And people haven't liked that. I just had a real problem kind of seeing it, where one night, he had Beethoven and he like let him go out of his little studio apartment into this interior hallway, kind of like a motel.
Mm-hmm.
And so Beethoven went about halfway down the hallway, and all of a sudden Ray goes, oh, no, you don't. And he grabs him by the tail and he pulls him back down to his apartment. And he went past at least 2 apartment doors, if not 3.
By the tail?
No court. By the tail. Yep.
Is
So
he like holding him
that,
or is he dragging him?
Yeah. No, he's just dragging. He grabs his tail and he just yanks him back down the hallway because he's drunk. He's so drunk. And he just grabs poor Beethoven, and Beethoven's screaming. I don't know how the neighbors don't know, because it's like 10, 11 o'clock at night. And I just sat there stupidified. And then
And the cat's screaming?
Yeah. Beethoven's just screaming top of his lungs. I mean, and from what I've been told now, the tail, it's like it literally is attached to their spine. So when you do that, you're pulling on nerves. You could seriously damage their whole entire like tail, the way they walk. I can't believe that he doesn't realize that. And people have tried to tell him that. Well, he drags him back into the apartment, shuts the door, and some poor woman in his chat tried to tell him that, hey, she was real nice about it, but she's like, hey, just so you know, I'm not sure if you're aware, but their tail is attached to their spine and it can really damage them. And forgive me, I'm going to just say this. He goes, yeah, don't be a pussy. If you don't like it, you can just go watch somebody else. You don't have to watch my streams.
I want to just give people some context. How many cats do you have, Soul?
I did have 6.
So
I have 5.
So needless to say, you're very aware of the inner workings of cats and what the do's and don'ts are. I wanted to make sure I pointed
Yes.
this out so that people realize why I'm going to you about the cat part, because you are our resident cat expert. You know, unfortunately, we only have that one clip that I played where he's messing with the cat, and some people can say that you know, is playful, or it's kind of really up to the person watching, you know, what their judgment is. There's probably plenty of people who will look at that and say this is abuse. In your opinion, was that playful or abuse?
When Beethoven went to go bite him, that's abuse. And I get that there's a lot of times where Beethoven is very friendly with him. You know, Ray will pet him and everything's fine. But when a cat turns and bites you, they're telling you they don't like it.
Whichever side of the argument you fall on in regards to the cat, whether you think it's playful or you think that that's actually abuse, I think this is a perfect example of someone who could easily look up that pulling a cat's tail is dangerous, yet does it anyway because they find it amusing. Much like soliciting people for money probably seems like it's amusing. It's Ray's world and we're all just living in it. That is the way that this man views things, which honestly is a countdown to bad things happening, such as someone making a video pointing out all the poor behavior that you've done that has affected a lot of different people. So I figured, what better way to show off some of the dumb shit this guy's done to back up my point than just letting him tell you. You know, like the time that Modder Paul decided to file a DMCA takedown request against Pecan Head's channel. If you don't know what a DMCA request is, it's when you ask YouTube to copyright strike someone else's channel because they use some of your content. Although this is protected under fair use, it all depends on how much content you take and how much input you add. And obviously Pecan Head was adding a comment and giant pauses between pretty much everything that Modder Paul was saying. So this doesn't count in that retrospect.
I've reported it to YouTube.
Truth, he did.
To be taken down without consequence, meaning I don't want him to get a copyright strike.
Bold-faced lie.
Using a lot of video from one of my live streams, and that's illegal.
No.
It's not illegal. I mean, it's against copyright rules on YouTube.
No. False. Or what I received from YouTube. Top line. We do not plan to remove your video. What YouTube sent him. In your request, you have asked that we remove the video and prevent any copies from being uploaded in the future.
Me neither, Coco. I've been scam baiting for 8 years. I have called thousands of scammers.
What does that have to do with anything? Nothing. His reasoning for him wanting my video taken down. What is your authority to make these complaints? I'm a live streamer, whatever that word is, enemy. Oh, he has an enemy, Conhead, who likes to harass him because I like to harass him. Harass him is just want him to be accountable.
So Ray would sooner copyright strike and get someone else's channel deleted before he would ever take any accountability for the things he's done or admit fault.
That is posting what I consider to be lies about what I'm trying to do. I'm not going to say their name. You probably already know who it is. Don't believe anything you see negative about me without sharing with me first. In other words, if you see something negative, can you please email me? I'll give you the email address.
Yeah, please email him and snitch on me.
Email me what you see and let me see for myself, and I'll give you an answer.
Let me see what he says about me. And I can assure you, even if you did email him, he's not going to give you an answer.
Case in point, in my first video, we went through an email where somebody was asking him about some of his extracurricular activities, and they had asked him blatantly, have you been messaging members of your audience and asking them for money, which he just flat out ignored that part of the question and then made up something about being scammed on GoFundMe. So you could email him, but he's only going to cherry pick the specific parts that he wants to talk about that he thinks that he could twist the narrative on. I believe that Ray is a compulsive liar and he has a hard time telling the truth. And the sooner people who still support him see that, the better.
From this point forward, I'm only going to say one more thing about that other YouTuber, and then I'm done, because it's really between me and him, I guess.
But see, here's the thing, though. It's not even between me and you. That's the crazy thing. It's apparently between you and all of your subs and viewers.
And I think that's an important distinction as well, is that Ray needs to realize that when people call him out, it's not because we have a personal grudge against him or anything like that. It's just that we're holding him accountable. He even says, I think this is between me and him, which it's obviously not. Pecan would never have gotten involved in this if it wasn't for the fact that it's between him and his audience. And he sees Ray basically taking advantage of people who he's supposed to be protecting. It's a big problem.
I've read some of the comments and I've seen scam baiters say some pretty awful things about me.
That are exactly how they feel.
I've lost like 10 subscribers
10
over his video. My channel is not about getting subscribers.
Not about getting subscribers. Well then why in the f are you running a damn subathon? Jesus man, it's just like lie after lie after lie.
Almost at 40,000. It's grown significantly the last 2 years.
Yeah, and it went downhill like the last probably 6 months.
Advertisers are pulling out of social media advertising.
I know somebody else who should have pulled out.
So the only way that I make an income is when people donate. And if you don't donate, you know, that's no problem. If you can't afford it and don't want to,
Well then stop f***ing harking on it.
then it's no big deal. When it comes to these operations, they're just way beyond my ability. I don't have
Nobody has $8,000.
$8,500 in my bank. I just don't have it.
Guess what? High 90% of your viewers don't either.
I have almost 3,000 in my other bank from the existing donations, and in 30 days I'm gonna go get my throat dilated. Almost all of that's already spent on the throat dilation. It's the hernia and the ulcer that's gonna cost. So if you don't want to donate, don't donate. I'm not gonna ask for it. I don't want your donation. I don't need it. So Pecan Head, enjoy recording this all you want. I'm telling my audience I do not want donations.
Yep, another bold-faced lie.
Holy shit. Oh my god.
I'm getting sick and tired of being criticized for asking for donations. I don't know why people think it's a bad thing. I don't want your donation. I don't need it.
That's what I thought too.
So Pecan Head, enjoy recording this all you want. I'm telling my audience I do not want donations. Other scam baiters get donations.
Sure do.
So is it wrong for me to expect them? I don't want your donation. I don't need it. If that's how you feel, then don't come to my streams. I mean, that's how I make. That's how I pay my bills. I don't want your donation. I don't need it. I don't expect donations. I'm just saying that that's the only income I have.
Don't expect donations, but that's the only income you have.
I don't want your donation. I don't need it. The subathon's gonna work.
Oh, hang on. I thought I wasn't about the subs.
Is you can't put. You're gonna have to email me to get the code to join the game because I don't want trolls to join the game and ruin it for everybody.
Trolls. His idea of trolls is somebody who has a opposite opinion of what he has. To him, that's a troll.
So that's really what it is. That Pecan Head can go to hell. I don't like him.
You don't like me because I'm holding you accountable? Okay.
The guy's a wreck.
I'm definitely a wreck, among many other things.
He's treating me like shit, and I don't deserve it.
I'm treating you like how you should be treated.
I told you, Pecan Head wants to destroy me. He literally wants to destroy me.
He's f***ing whinging, boy. Torque levels maxed out.
I don't know. I've never said one bad thing about Pecan Head.
Rewind about 10 seconds.
I don't have a beef with him at all. I don't know why he's like this. I really don't. It's a shame because at one point I actually complimented him and
When? Show me something.
he's treating me like, yeah, he has a pathetically small channel.
Goddamn right I do. That's swinging big dick on you, motherfucker.
He's not even a real scam baiter.
I've never considered myself a scam baiter. Ever. That's a fucking insult to the word. I'm not. Never claimed to have been.
He doesn't rescue victims. He
That's a fucking lie.
doesn't scam bait. He just yells at them.
I do yell at them. Goddamn right I do. I yell at them for every fucking damn thing that they're fucking worth, which is nothing.
And he likes to do critical videos about me.
No, I like to do the videos that hold you accountable.
So he's a piece of crap.
But yeah, he don't talk bad about me.
He thinks
I'm a piece of a crap.
he's probably laughing as we speak.
Well, at the time I wasn't, but I am now though. Because you're a clown. You should be laughed at. Now, watch him try to cover his damn tracks here.
I think they mistook what I was trying to say. I was criticizing the governor of
Bullshit.
California. Yeah, Californians are complaining themselves. They're saying, why aren't our leaders helping us? That was my complaint.
Yeah, there you go, yeah. Backtrack that mother.
But as usual, my words get twisted.
No, your words didn't get twisted.
So I'm from this point forward, when I do tweets, it's going to be on.
Now, this is probably one of the most fucking revolting things that I've heard him say, and I've heard a lot. So he's on Twitter, X, whatever it is. I don't know. I don't have it.
Sexy ladies, and
Just listen.
it's like a sexy lady, and shit, they want you to look at her mommy milkers.
Look at his fucking face.
And I say, can you move aside so I can see that beautiful room that you're blocking with your big body?
He thinks he's fucking real goddamn clever. So you're gonna be a feminist, and you're gonna try to fat shame some females to make yourself look good, and for a few followers, bro, you are fucking pathetic. Get a fucking grip.
So I've been doing that, and I've been gaining Twitter followers because they think it's funny.
You've been gaining Twitter followers because they think it's funny, and you think that that's cute, that you're a big fucking jokester on the damn.
Like, I'll show you an example. Here's one. 47-year-old dog mom is a single mom. Am I too old? And then I'll say, and I'm going to reply, one, your tattoos are ugly.
I'm pretty sure that he probably misspelled at least 2 or 3 of the words in that little comment right there.
One, your tats are gross. And 2, get that phone out of your face. And
Look at him.
just by posting that, I'll gain 2 followers.
Look at him. Watch out, George Carlin.
As I wind down this video, I just wanted to say I wanted Pecanhead to finish what he started. While he may not be here physically, he is here in spirit. And without him, none of this would have even happened. And while I may be the mouthpiece saying this story to you all, I couldn't have done it without the help of a bunch of people helping me. The support system I got during this, because of all the people hurt by Ray, was honestly mind-boggling. And while everybody who is involved in this story has a right to be angry in some way or another, at the end of the day, all I hear again and again and again is that they want Ray to get help. They don't want Ray destroyed. I may have labeled this video title, The Destruction of Mater Paul. That is the last thing we want. The destruction in his life came from his own behavior and no one else. And while he may point fingers at everybody else, he knows deep down that this is all due to his own decisions. And if he doesn't see that, then I'm afraid that this is probably never gonna work. and that he'll always be chasing clout and just never get it. Unless he becomes a popular locale, which it is possible for him to become a popular locale. I've seen it happen. So unless he leans into that, the idea of being a respected scam baiter's over for him. But it's not too late for you to be able to change, Ray. Go get help. Go to rehab. Do whatever it is that you need to do to get yourself back on track to who you once were. The guy that people looked up to. A lot of the scam baiters who helped me with this video told me that they started because they looked up to you. Now they are actively looking to let people know what's happening with you. Why did that happen? It's not because they woke up on the wrong side of the bed one day and was like, you know what, I want to go pick a fight. It's because of your behavior. Every person I interviewed all had one thing in common, and that is that you treated them all poorly, you took advantage of all of them. Now, I'm not sure if it's because you just feel like you're high and mighty because you had some success on YouTube, which does tend to happen a lot to creators, but you're a scam baiter. You're someone who is supposed to have ethics. You always brag about the victims and how many you save, yet you're creating just as many as you're saving. So at the end of the day, you're back to zero, buddy. And if you don't see the problem with your behavior and you think that what you're doing is fine, then I'm afraid I'm gonna keep tabs on you, man. If you're out there screwing people over, I'm gonna be here to talk about it. Pecan Head might not be around anymore, but I'm not going anywhere anytime soon, God willing. And if something happens to me, there'll be someone behind me ready to take up the mantle. You are on notice, sir. We are watching you. Not in like a creepy sexual way, but you know what I mean. So cut the shit, man. The jig is up, as they say. No longer will you be able to email people and beg them for money. Get a job like the rest of us. And as Pecan said, nobody has $8,000 lying around. While it sucks what you're going through, you also admitted that Medicaid offered to help you pay for some of this. So if Medicaid helped you pay for some of this, then why do you still currently have a GoFundMe up right now? GoFundMes can be incredibly helpful tools for people who actually need it, but what you're doing is abusing it. Fundraising is not the same as working for your money, which is what you were doing when you were a streamer or a content creator or whatever the hell it was you were doing, or a scam baiter. GoFundMe is for people who have like cancer. Pecan Head had every right to start a GoFundMe and he didn't. No one's upset about you starting a GoFundMe, which is what you seem to harp on. But what they are upset is the emails, the guilt trips, the treatment of Beethoven, the ignorance, the language, the insults, all of it, Ray. So you could circle back to say, oh, I was just starting a GoFundMe and everybody gave me shit. That's not what happened, and you know it. You know that's not what happened. It's time to wake up, Ray. Wake up. Put on your big boy pants and man the fuck up and get back to doing what you're good at. Sticking it to scammers and saving people. With that said, see you guys on the next one. Peace. Oh, and stop pulling your goddamn cat's tail.